Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Mystery Theory. Today is another soft spoken Wednesday, and I will be sharing with you a very requested video. Now, it took me a while to come back to it because there is a lot of speculation around this, and I had to go around different forums and different sources to bring to you what I believe is the most documented cases where people have experienced the visit of the black-eyed kids. This is very popular, so I'm assuming that most of you know about them. But in case that you don't know, this is something that's been going around for a while, but really became popular when a reporter from Texas, his name Brian Bethel, shared his experience in a ghost-related mailing list that is believed that is kind of the beginning of the more popular concept of the black-eyed kids. Now, I'm gonna tell you his story, the one that he wrote in this mailing list, but the idea is that the encounters involved kids with eyes that are completely black, with no white around it, very big eyes, and there are kids asking for help. So I kind of put myself in that position if that was me sitting in my car when a couple of kids came and asked for help. What would I do? And would the fact that they have black eyes make a difference, I should say? Something that makes them unique and different. Now, I'm gonna tell you why I kind of quickly changed my mind of what I thought in the beginning. You see, the idea of a kid asking for help, really, I think it's something that we as adults want to be there for them, even if it's not our own kids, our own family. I think there is something that we feel like we must help or protect or give a hand to the needy, and in this case, kids. But the circumstances around the situations where these people encounter these kids, it's what kind of changed my mind. Well, let's go with Brian's story. This is, in my own words, kind of what I gathered from his article, okay? It is not exactly what he wrote, but he said that he told this story, and this is the main idea. If you want to read it all, I'll have a link in the description box down below, where you can go click it and read word by word what he wrote on that article. He said that it happened while he was sitting in his car, minding his own business and writing checks to pay his bills. He was kind of distracted, looking around, minding his own business, I should say. And all of a sudden, he is approached by two boys that are wearing hoodies. And they were about, I don't know, I think he said between 10 to 14 years old. So not the youngest kids, but not the oldest neither. The boys tell Brian that they wanted to go watch a movie, but when they got to the movie place, they realized that they forgot the money at home. So they needed a ride to go get it. Brian asked the boys, "What movies are you guys watching?" And they said, "Mortal Kombat, of course." Did I say that this was in the 90s? I think it was in 1990. Brian told them that at that moment he kind of looked around and he realized that the last showing was already 1 hour in. So he told the boys that. The boys acted like they were caught, so they asked again and again for a ride to go back home. Brian described a moment where he looked into one of the boys' eyes and all of a sudden he found himself trying to open the door to let them in. He said that he was in some kind of a trance-like effect. He quickly got out of it and he started to pay attention to the kids' eyes. He described them as coal black with no pupil and very reflective. Now, if you ever watched, Supernatural, you're probably thinking that they were demons, right? That's what I thought at first. And I'll kind of go into what they could be in the end. When he saw the eyes, he got a little bit scared, of course. The boys insisted that they needed a ride and that they meant no harm to him, and that they didn't even have a gun. Finally, the boys told him, or one of them told him, "We can't come unless you tell us it's okay. Just let us in." Now, again, going back to the idea of maybe helping, I don't know, a couple of boys that are in need. Can you see how this kind of escalated to what it was in the end, and how a couple of boys could scare a grown man so much? Now, the interesting thing is that the boys asked him to say, "Hey, come in," almost like they needed to be invited into the car. Now, at that point, Brian thought it's now or never, and he decided to leave. He put the car in reverse and left both of the boys kind of looking or staring as he was driving away from them. Now, after this incident, it was reported. Hundreds of other sightings have been reported. They all share some characteristics, and that's why they are believed to be the same black-eyed boys. Number one, they're always in a group and never alone. they also are always in need of something. They need your help. They always ask to be invited in either a house or a vehicle. They have some kind of a robotic nature, but they talk like an adult. And lastly, they have like this trance effect on people, compulsion to comply with their request. And this, because of these characteristics, is that we can kind of put all these new reports under the same black-eyed kids idea at this point. Now, going back in time, because this was in, I think, 1990. In 1974, a couple of guys were driving through the French countryside when they reported seeing 5 unnatural beings. I don't know why they decided to use that term, but apparently they were standing outside of a house and one of them waved at them. They had that unnatural being appearance, apparently, and they were kind of calling them in. When the guys noticed, they were not what they consider normal kids. They got scared and drove away. Later on, they testified that they knew that there were some kind of unnatural beings because of their appearance. Earthly yellow skin, long hair to their waist, noses compressed inwards, and the eyes were huge and solid black. An investigator was sent to the area, but he couldn't find them. However, they found more people that have seen them around and thought that they were wearing some kind of a costume. Now, there are some other encounters that I will share with you, but there was some kind of I don't know if an idea connecting the black-eyed kids to the Urfa man, which is a statue of a man that is estimated 10,000 years old. Apparently, this statue that I looked at a picture, it's creepy. I'm not gonna lie there. The eyes were carved of segments of black obsidian, and they were very deep, no white. And a lot of people that seen this statue claim to have kind of the same feeling description by people that encounter the black-eyed kids. However, I think it's kind of stretching it. I needed to mention it because somebody mentioned this in a comment requesting this video. But I saw the statue and it's creepy overall. He's covering his penis and it's creepy. It's a creepy statue. I don't know if the eyes is what's gonna give you the creepy feeling, but okay. Some people reported that, and I think it's worth mentioning. Now, There was a lady that reported having an encounter with these black-eyed kids, but she was the one reported case that let them inside her house. So picture this. She was at her home at night with her husband when they heard a loud banging in the front door. The husband opened the door. Two children, there's a couple of kids, a boy and a girl, that they're not older than 8 years old, and they're standing on the snow. They had no jacket or any kind of winter clothes, and it was a very cold night. The first thing that she noticed is that they were both looking down. She even mentions in her statement that in another situation she would have rushed them inside and get them some cocoa, get blankets. But in this case, she felt uneasy from the moment that they showed up. She couldn't make eye contact with them, but they continued to ask to come into the house. Her husband asked her, should we let them in? And immediately turned around and asked the boy and the girl, where their parents were at. But they told him that they would be there soon. Even though it didn't feel good, they invited them in. It was 2 a.m. and maybe they were involved in a car accident or some kind of a house incident, and their parents were going to come and were really on their way. The lady reported that she had 4 very curious cats, but 3 of them hid all the time. They were not interested in finding out who was in the house. The wife made hot cocoa and took it to the kids. And she said that when she looked at them and saw their eyes, she gasped when she saw their giant black eyes. They realized, the kids did, that she panicked and asked to use the restroom. At that point, the husband and wife started to talk, but soon enough were distracted by his nose bleeding. This had never happened before, so they were freaking out a little bit. The power went out, and at that point they started to lose it. She spotted the kids after getting out of the bathroom, both in the hallways. At that moment, the boy said, "Our parents are here," and they walked out the door, leaving it opened. When they looked outside, they saw 2 men, very tall men in black, by a car at the end of the driveway. The husband waved, but the 2 guys got in the car and left. Now, she later added that a few things started to change around the house after this encounter. 3 of the 4 cats went missing. They were more nosebleeding on their husband's side, and he later on was diagnosed, I couldn't think of the word, with skin cancer, treatable skin cancer. She also started experiencing some dizzy spells and nosebleeding herself. Now, these are some of the most documented encounters with the black-eyed kids. Let's go over a few of the things that we know about them and how they are being related to things that we commonly know. Like, a lot of people believe that they are some kind of a demon. We know that, according to popular shows on TV, demons have all black eyes, and demons have the ability to possess bodies, human bodies. According to the religious side, yes, some kind of a demon presence can also possess the body of a human being. So a lot of people believe there is some kind of a demonic presence. Now, the invitation part, a lot of people, you're probably thinking of it right now, but a lot of people tied it to vampires who are dead. And so they need this invitation. Some other people relate them to aliens because of their big and weird looking eyes. But the explanation of some people is just going back in history and some of the Native American spells that they casted to keep evil spirits in what they believe, quote unquote, vampires, or some kind of a blood sucking creature they believe was around. And that, as far as magic and spells, there is always a loophole. They talk about free will in one of the articles that I read. And another one talked about how evil disguises itself in the body of an innocent child. But even though we have a lot of theories, we have a lot of stories, and we have a lot of witnesses, we really don't have pictures of video. So there is not enough evidence to convince a lot of the skeptics in this matter. There are a lot of drawings, however, of people, specifically the case in the 70s, where they made a drawing on how they were standing and how they looked like when they were driving by the countryside of France. But what do you think? Do you think they're real? Do you think it's something that it's demonic? Do you think it's something out of this world? Do you think there are certain rules and that's why it's even more creepy than if we didn't have those rules? You see, I am kind of in the middle. I believe that they could be some kind of entity that comes from another place. Not necessarily it's around here. And even though some people have reported the consequences of letting them in, maybe those consequences are because of their energy or because of their presence. But maybe not intentional. What do they want? If really there's something out of this world, are they curious? I read way too much into this, and I remember reading this thread. This was this guy, I think he was an army vet, and he said that he was ready, that once you start to learn about the black-eyed kids, they're gonna show up, and he was ready for it. And he continued to update that thread continuously, and I think the last one was in 2018 when he said he hasn't seen them yet. So I don't know really where to stand in this. I feel like sometimes people see things that are unexplainable, and sometimes people are just trying to come up with something unique, and then all of a sudden there's a following behind it. Is it possible that these kids exist? More than likely. Maybe. Who knows? But just knowing that there are so many people out there believing that this is something that it's not able to be explained. It's such a mystery that really keeps everyone involved in this kind of interested in the next case. And you have to understand that there are cases reported like this every week in different parts of the world. And if you follow the threads, you're gonna end up not sleeping for an entire night, because they will lead you to another thread, to another thread, to another thread. And to be honest, in the end, it comes down to, do you believe what these people is saying? And what is your theory of why these kids are asking for help? Let me know what you think, because I know you guys requested this, so you must have a theory that maybe I don't. I apologize for the background noise. Today I'm here at the library, so I could do quite a few videos for something special I'm preparing for October. I thought it was going to be quiet, but apparently quiet libraries is something from the past. It's out of date. I was born in the 80s. Apparently right now people is too cool to be quiet at the library. Not complaining, but it's kind of interesting to see how things change. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the week, and I'll talk to you guys soon.